text them every day.
Good. Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Public to be heard. Don't believe we have any. Now it's my turn. I get to read the good news from Batavia Middle School. Lindsay Leone. We just finished our first week of BMS Math and Literacy summer camps. It was so great to hear student voices in the halls. We have an amazing and talented teaching staff here working for the summer. I'm really excited to see the things our summer students will accomplish over the next month. Brennan Briggs. The district's strength, speed, and agility programs are in full swing, and we have had athletes grades 7 through 12 showing up on a daily basis to improve. Also, the football team is hard at work as they hit the weights and field every day. We also have had great turnouts at our Tuesday night 7v7s and our Thursday lineman club nights held by Coach Alex Veltz. From John Kennedy, Brian Sutton. Shout out to the custodians and summer help at JK. They are working so hard and getting rooms ready for next year. Frank and Nick are also tackling a never-ending to-do list. Keep up the great work. From Jackson Primary, Maureen Notaro. Jessica Torrey has done a fantastic job planning for a rich summer experience. She has organized an academic program that students are enjoying. She plans with a student lens. She is doing a fantastic job as an assistant principal. That's the good news for this month. Next up, presentations. The Batavia cross-country trip proposal from Mr. Boyce and Mr. Buckenmeyer.
So the details of our proposal I provided for you guys on pages 22 to 24. I'm Mr. Boyce, by the way, Rick Boyce, chemistry teacher, boys cross-country coach.
Bill Buckenmeyer, girls cross-country coach, aide.
So we're here to present the proposal in front of you for our usually annual trip to New York City to run the Manhattan Invitational. It's one of the largest invitational races in the country, certainly on the East Coast. It's New York City. It's October 7th, 8th, and 9th. Kids will miss the 7th, the day of school will be 7th, and we will be returning on 9th.
It's a trip for not only the kids to compete, but be able to see some things out in New York City. We normally have, 15, 20 plus kids that have never been to New York City. It seems so close for a lot of us, 6 hours. So it gives them an opportunity to kind of go see some of the things that sometimes we take for granted. It's one of those experiences the kids always come back and we're like, I can't wait till next year. And unfortunately, because of 2020, last year, we thankfully approved it, but there was a lot of hoops to jump through with everything still trying to open up. It was opening up here, but not there, so we decided to push it along. So even the kids that were freshmen, that was the last group that was able to go. So they're hopeful and excited at the possibility of us going back and having another positive experience.
Yeah, so in October, like when we decided against it, it was under, it was a very difficult decision. There was just still some uncertainty, but thankfully things are much better now. Baseball team had their trip in the fall, so that went off without a hitch. So we're really excited for the potential opportunity for this year's trip. Basically, on the Friday, we would take a charter bus down. We stay in New Jersey at a hotel. The race is on the Saturday, so we would just do like a team dinner, a practice. We run to a neighborhood park on the Friday. On Saturday when we race, most of the races are the first half of the day, and then we would tour the city in the evening, and then on the Sunday would be a little bit more sightseeing. basically everything's outside. But they just get to see a handful of different hotspots in New York City. It's a great experience. Relatively cheap for a New York City weekend. It's roughly $200 per student. Prices are a little bit higher this year.
What do you do with, if the student doesn't have the $200 to pay?
So we have fundraising that usually kids at that situation do enough fundraising so that it's paid for. And that's really the goal for everybody. We don't really want to stick any parent in our district with a $200 bill. So each box of candy bars that they sell, they can knock $50 off, usually with a car wash or two. It's another $20 for each car wash that they participate in. So it usually ends up getting very reduced, if not completely paid for through fundraising.
Have you had successful fundraisers this summer so far?
So this summer we haven't scheduled usually we only do the car washes.
I see.
So normally we have this meeting to get board approved a month earlier. It was just a little bit delayed on our end. So we didn't schedule the summer car wash. But we also, with the cancellation, we were very diligent. The cancellation last year, we were very diligent with getting all of our down payments back. So we have the fundraised money from last year, so we have a really good start.
Basically, we did some fundraisers last year, and we're carrying it over. The kids that carry money over in their account, we'll bring that over so that it'll be less that they have to do. But we do have some things already set up, if the board approves, so that they can start hopefully selling with chicken barbecue, do a bowl-a-thon, usually the end of September. So we're excited to give those kids that opportunity.
I only have one other question for you. You said in part of the questions that you answered, I don't know who asked them, but you answered them, about this unique advantage because of the touring that you're going to do. I mean, you did say that it gives the students the ability to talk to their classes, their history classes, about what they see. Now, do the history teachers know that the kids have toured and will actually have a conversation with these students, or do you just expect that the students are going to say, hey, I went to New York City and we saw the 9/11 memorial and we saw the, I mean, I think it's a great thing. I'm not negative about this trip at all. It's for my own information.
Yeah, I would say it's more of an informal connection that the kids have so that they can actually bring up those discussion points in like contemporary poems type class or with any teacher. It doesn't have to be a history teacher per se, but it's an experience that a lot of kids don't have the opportunity to have.
I do know that Mr. McCarthy, who was one of our U.S. history teachers, a few years ago, we went and saw a few different things that we hadn't seen in the past. One, I believe, where George Washington was inaugurated for the first time, and so a couple of kids got a picture, and then he put it into a slideshow, and he brings it up every year about how it was in New York City, not in Philadelphia or D.C., where a lot of people would think. So like those little things that the kids can kind of hold on to, like, hey, they'll go like, hey, we saw this, and that, it's been a talking point for a class here or there throughout the past few years.
I think one of the churches that we stop in, Alexander Hamilton is buried in, so we point out the tombstone. And it's just like it gives them something to make a connection to when they hear that name in their history class.
Okay.
So you guys didn't go last year?
We did not. We had the approval.
Right.
The tentative approval. Certainly there was always the question mark that we weren't sure if there was going to be any secondary tertiary waves of COVID. And it was one of those things where we were nervous about the potential liability at the time because of the uncertainty. And I think we could have made it work because, like I said, most of our trip is outside.
Right.
But we just wanted to give it a few more months because it was time that we could make a decision. It was still September, so.
And unfortunately, New York City wasn't opened up to the same level that we were. When we had just started reopening back up, and they just weren't quite there by the time that we had to make it. We didn't want to take it up like the week before, and all the kids had all these plans, so it was a really tough decision. But we figured, like, we're on a bus and one kid gets sick, and like to try to we like to try to look at the positive, but there were so many potential negatives that it was a risk we were just not ready to take at that time based on all the information that we had at the time.
Your confidence level, though, this year seems pretty high, so.
Yeah, and we have, we're gonna have enough adults there, and we built in an extra room. So our plan is we have 15 rooms reserved right now without having to pay a down payment. Just we have reserved them in advance, and we have the potential room for if somebody does get sick that we can isolate somebody in the room. But we don't really foresee, hopefully, having to utilize that, but we do have that in the back, just in case we contact parents. And it's one of those things where we're going to have a permission slip, and parents are going to have to, sign off on the potential of having to pick up a sick kid. I think that's got to be standard now. I mean, we can't keep somebody who's sick with us. And certainly a lot closer than driving to Florida. It's a similar policy that they had in the spring.
And like Coach Boy said, most of the stuff is outside. The only time is when we're on the bus going down there, and then on Saturday we have our meet. We're outside. Like, we try to do as much outside stuff as possible. It's just the bus trip is really the only time when we have the collection that closely, packed together, and this will get us down there, get us back, get us to a couple of different buildings.
And this is open to anybody on the cross-country team?
Yep. Try to bring everybody. The more people we can have on the trip, the cheaper it is per person.
Right. Perfect.
Well, I think it's a great thing that you guys are doing, and I think it's great that you guys are making the trip back down there. So, make us proud when you're there.
We can have informal, we can save a couple head nods, and we can have a formally approved for the next meeting.
It should be formally approved tonight.
Okay. Is there any?
We can.
Yes,
Is there any?
it's on for board action.
Yeah, board action tonight.
The very first page of the packet.
Yeah, it's on there.
Oh, it's board action, okay, gotcha.
Any other questions?
So we need a motion.
Any other questions? Okay, can I have a motion
So move to accept.
by Barbara Bowman? Second?
Second.
By Ms. Lindvay?
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Bowman.
Yes.
Mrs. Lundey.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mrs. Benedict.
Yes.
Mr. Riegel.
Yes.
Mr. Morochi.
Yes.
Have a good trip.
Appreciate it.
Congratulations. All right, next up, reports. Superintendent.
Yeah, I just wanted to begin by recognizing Genesis Daily Bosses. We had a very good leadership retreat last week. Our entire leadership team went down. We had speakers Wednesday. We went back to basics. We focused on good teaching, good sound curriculum, and good literacy practices. We had some good breakout sessions on safety, data, and also strategic planning. Dr. Corey did a presentation for the group on our strategic plan. And then Thursday morning, we had some team development with the outside facilitator, and we focused on preparation for our shared decision-making teams. We're excited to start the year with a defined focus and a plan. Of course, fall sports begin later this month. Welcome back to our student athletes. They've been all summer in and out, but fall sports formally started in 2 weeks. Very soon, if not this week, we will release start and end times for our families. I know there's been some question on that. So the start and end times, those are being finalized as we speak. We have some busing details to work through, but those will out this week to our families. Robert Morris looks awesome. Thanks to our teachers and our admin and building the grounds. Good shape to welcome back our pre-K students to that building. As a reminder, the board has their retreat on September 7th, Wednesday night, focus on goal setting and the results of the board self-evaluation. We have Meet the Media Day next Wednesday. I think we have a couple board reps who are coming to that to meet with our local media outlets. Summer school is wrapping up. I visited all sites. I want to thank Dr. Corey, our principals, and mostly our assistant principals for their lead in making summer school successful. There is going to be a feature story coming out later this month on the successes of summer school. August 25th, Thursday night, we'll have the dedication of the Frank Owen Auditorium. All board members are invited to participate and attend. There'll be about a half-hour concert and some comments and remarks, followed by a reception in the cafeteria. I believe John and Jennifer will have the honor of joining us to cut the ribbon, and with Mr. Owens there, his son. And of course, at the end of October, we have the NYSBA conference. If anybody's interested in attending the school board's conference at the end of October, let Brittany or I know. It's in Syracuse this year. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, next up, agenda alterations, if there are any. Don't think there are any? Okay. All right, next up, consent items. Need a motion to accept the consent items as they are?
So moved.
I did make one change to the board minutes. It was just the lettering that I did change, just so you know.
Okay.
So moved.
By Mrs. Benedict. Second, please. By Mrs. Anderson. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Benedict.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson. Yes. Mrs. Lundey. Yes. Mrs. Bowman. Yes. Mr. Reed.
Yes.
Mr. Marucci.
Yes. All right, old business. Need a motion to accept the old business? All right.
One at a time.
What's that? One at a time? Okay. A, 2022-23 Batavia School District Safety Plan.
So moved.
By Mr. Regal,
Second.
by Mrs. Benedict.
Just one quick comment. This plan was the same plan looked at last month. We had a public comment period. We received no comments, so pending your approval of this plan, this will be then submitted to the state, and that obligation has been completed. It does include the new SRO agreement as well. So,
Okay. Roll call?
Mr. Regal.
Yes.
Mrs. Benedict.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson. Yes. Mrs. Lundey. Yes. Mrs. Bowman.
Yes.
Mr. Marucci.
Yes. Item B, updated 2022-23 Batavia City School District Teacher Mentoring Program.
So moved.
Ms. Lenbe,
Second.
Mrs. Bowman. Roll call, please.
can I just
Mrs. Lundey.
stop for 1 second, see if
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
I want to just have on make a comment.
I just had a question.
Oh, yeah.
Was the mentoring program suspended because of the pandemic?
No.
Oh, it's just getting restarted
We
from,
meet every year, we
Yeah.
look at everything, we made some technical updates. For example, the mentors and mentees now keep an electronic log.
Mhm.
We just made notes on those little updates.
I see.
But we meet every year.
okay.
Mrs. Benedict.
Yes.
Mr. Regal.
Yes.
Mr. Marucci.
Yes. Item C, Board Docs Pro and Policy Services. Can I have a motion? Discussion first. Any discussion, any questions on that?
This is only for one, we're only trying this out, right?
Yes, so we sign a 1 year.
It's a 1 year.
By the time we get going, it's probably not going to be until the late fall before we get going with it.
It could be December, or January by the time they, because they have to train. There's several days of
So
training.
there'll
There's
be
training
lots of-
you guys will be doing.
All right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you won't be hit with anything come September or even
No.
next board meeting. So
No.
this gives us time, we're more in favor of it. I know there were some questions on it last time.
Yep.
I think we can try it, and that'll be my recommendation, but it's, it's your decision, that's what we want to have the conversation. I know there's some trepidation that I can appreciate, but I think we'll be fine.
I just don't like computers.
I like it. I've looked at the other local schools. I'm sure the fields used it forever. It's a couple clicks away. Jed's giving that look.
So this also includes a policy service?
It does, which we need.
I thought we used NISBA as a policy service.
We use Erie One BOCES as a policy service.
I see.
Okay, NISBA is another agency that we
You can,
use. We
I
would
see.
still continue to use Erie One BOCES. They just would embed our policy within board docs.
Mhm.
So I'll give you an example. Right now, we have one of our attorneys try to go online to find our board docs,
Mhm.
and the link that she went to was not working. This would be an aid to help, to make those board policies more visible. And plus, you can search for them too, instead of having to go through.
Mhm. So this incorporates the policy service that we have through Erie One.
Yes, you can put it that way. So we will still continue to get our policies from Erie One.
Yeah.
They don't do policy, but they would
Right.
build those policies. Once we say Erie and Erie policies, they would then be implemented into board docs.
Okay, okay,
So the answer to your question is yes and no.
okay.
Anyone else? I would just like to say that we're all very worried about making sure that we're very transparent to the public. And I think this is just one more step in making us transparent to the public and to our constituents that here it is. Plus, I think we stop killing trees. And it's just, we're not in the 1990s anymore, early 2000s.
I like the 19.
And
Wait a minute.
I listen, I
Watch
understand.
it.
I know I have my laptop with me all the time, and I'm not the most savvy person with it, but I think it's time that we try and move forward in this way. So.
And if there are some topics we talked about last meeting that we can still get some printouts if there's a search factor.
The high level stuff is stuff that I think would really command more of your attention. We can make sure they have the copies.
Do they like upload old minutes? Like how far back, you know what I'm saying? Like if we didn't start till January, would they do like the fall minutes or the fall?
That's a
like,
good question. I don't know.
How far back
Find
do they
out.
go?
I mean, I don't know if they would upload, if they would go back, how far back they would go.
I
Let's
have
say-
all years and years of them on our website.
Yeah, they're on
I
the
literally
website anyway.
decades
So
of them
Okay.
on there.
if we were doing like board docs now, then-
Mhm.
so on the board docs agenda right now, you would see the July minutes on the Google. They would be housed on it. And they would be housed on their online forever.
Mhm.
Just like we house them on now in that Word document. So then, I don't know if they would have to go back and put all those up there again, but certainly in like, if we start this in like December, the November minutes will be up there. For you to then look at it.
And the one thing too is like the minutes are, just so you know, they're not gonna look like this anymore. They're very condensed and they're very brief. They will not be like 23 pages. They're gonna be very brief. It does it itself. I'll add in a few things, but it's gonna do its own thing. It gives you just what you need, not a ton.
How does it know what you need?
It pulls it, so as you build the agenda, when you click minutes, it pulls it in. So it formats it for you.
So it decides.
Any other questions? Comments?
It's a 1-year gig.
Less than 1 year. By the time we get going, it'll be less than 1 year.
And then we reevaluate.
And then it'll be doing insert, yes, you'll be doing
Yes.
insert next month in NISBA conference.
I will not be. I will be watching someone else do it.
I have confidence.
I
That's fine.
just over it. I'm not a computer person.
You can
I'm
be
married to a
you
computer
can
person.
be a computer person. We can do it. We can.
Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Mr. Regal, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Anderson? Roll call, please.
Mr. Regal.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mrs. Benedict.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowman.
Yes.
Mrs. Lundberg.
Really? Yeah. For 1 year, yeah.
Mr.
Yes.
Marucci.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, on the new business. Do we go ahead and talk about that? Letter A, 2022-23 tax warrant and rate determination. Any questions? No? Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Regal?
Second.
Mrs. Benedict? Roll call, please.
Mr. Regal.
Yes.
Mrs. Benedict.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowman. Mrs. Lundberg.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Marucci.
Yes. Then B, resolution pertaining to BCSD capital project to allow Director of Facilities 2 to approve any change to the prime building / property in the amount of $10,000 or less, and Superintendent of Schools to approve any changes to the prime building / property in the amount of $10,001 up to $25,000.
This was a recommendation that came out of the last building and ground meeting. Makes the process smoother for all of us, still having some accountability. And we'll be with both John and John. Part of that, Scott, anything you want to add to that?
All changes will still come to the board. It just helps streamline it during the month until you see the change order officially.
Just pass it, just speeds up the process a little bit.
I'm good for that.
Any questions? Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Mrs. Ledbetter? Can I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Bowman? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lundberg.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowman.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mrs. Benedict.
Yes.
Mr. Regal.
Yes.
Mr. Marucci.
Yes. And then there's other reports, none. And then a motion to go into executive session.
Do you have a reason in front of you?
Yeah, you need to read the reason.
Someone from the Is that okay?
Here.
Mr.
We page 13 in the packet.
Oh, 13
There you go.
Transparency.
Right there.
Right here. Right here.
Okay, here we go. Motion to go into executive session to discuss A, matters relating to the medical, financial, credit, or employment history, or a particular person or corporation, or matters leading to the appointment, employment, promotion, demotion, discipline, suspension, dismissal, or removal of a particular person or corporation.
We need a motion for that.
Can I have a
So
motion,
moved.
please? Second?
Second.
Mr. Regal? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Benedict.
Yes.
Mr. Regal.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mrs. Lundberg.
Yes.
Mrs. Bowman.
Yes.
Mr. Marucci.
Yes. We're in executive